You're listening to the Mobcast Network.
Welcome to the Cult MOvie Cantina.
Hello.
Oh, God. Yay.
We never know if we should react or not there. Every time.
This is the podcast that takes a look at your favorite cult films, pairs them with an alcoholic beverage,
That would be me.
show them to someone who's not seen them,
Me.
and then we talk about it.
I forgot that we're also doing because we have the visual. I waved.
Well, yeah.
And then I was like, no one can hear me wave.
Well, we're
It's
not
okay.
doing it.
It's
So,
okay.
so with
So
the
many angles.
while we have a camera there, we're experimenting with video podcasting today. We'll see if it works. But ladies, just ignore it.
Okay.
We're just gonna do it. It's just gonna be there, and we're gonna let it do its thing. So,
All right.
Cool.
How's everybody doing?
Are we going to introduce ourselves today?
We could do that.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by, as always,
Your facilitator of fun and lady of libation, Stephanie.
Justina, the Jellicle Jester. Not that I waved at the camera.
She who knows no movies.
Because I'm supposed to put it like it's not there.
You can wave if you want. It's fine.
I did. I did do that.
Before we start, and we'll do this again in the catacombs, but I have some sad news for you, Justina. And
I was like,
me.
you looked specifically at me, and now I'm... yes?
So,
Is it Harry?
No,
Is it Harry in Star Wars?
No.
Okay.
Justina guest starred on our very first episode of the Catacombs,
I did.
and we did a movie.
Jim Cotta?
Right. I'm sad to say the lead actor, Kurt Thomas, died today.
The gymnast?
The gymnast.
Oh, that's so sad. How is he going to make any revivals of it?
No, obviously now he will not be able to.
Does he have any kin? You have kinfolk?
That's the reason why Drew's not here. He's inconsolable.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He is a
It's,
for real
died
connection
very young,
with that.
64. Had a stroke and some sort
Aw.
of kind of brain aneurysm. So
That's terrible.
That is terrible.
So-
You would think that he would outlive us all with the way that he could
That's
handle those random balance beams.
So starting this whole podcast on a bummer.
Gee, Scotty.
But we'll cover it more in the Catacombs. But I
Wow.
thought that it should be noted. Justine kills our first guest, basically.
Oh.
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 I mean, did I say that? I'm sorry.
That's terrible.
It doesn't even, the way he looked and he was like, I have terrible news, Justina. Oh, God, what did I do? Oh, my goodness. I'm here. Was I supposed to bring something? Not this time.
The only plugs I've got is that still today, at this week, at this moment, we're still going to do Huntsville. That's July 18th and 19th.
Awesome.
At the Huntsville Pop Expo. We'll be there. We're not going to be performing. I'll just be there with a table selling comics and giving away free stuff. But
I'll be skating. There.
So
Potentially.
if you feel safe, come out. We'll be masked. So
I should probably get a mask.
we'll be up there.
Except for me, I won't be there.
Also, check out chronicleslimbo.com. Subscribe to the comic, please. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers. I'm down to 50. I got to get 950 more. We're getting there. Slow but surely. We'll get there.
Oh, wow.
I thought you were saying you only had 50 left. And I was like, good job. And then
No,
you're like,
no,
950 more.
No, I'm on the
All right.
on the other side of that.
Okay.
We can do this.
Yeah, we can.
We can do this. It's going to take some time, but we'll get there. It's a good comic. We just got it translated in Spanish.
Cool. Now, what do we have it translated in so far?
German.
So German, French, and Spanish.
That's cool.
English. So we're 4 languages. I just got Spanish pages today.
That's awesome.
So I'm
It
really
is
excited.
awesome.
So thank you again, Jessica Hines, for doing that.
Thank you,
And
Jessica.
Jessica, thank you, hey, Jesus Riviera, who did the translation for us.
Thank
you,
you.
Jesus.
Isn't it Jesus?
No, it's Jesus.
It is Jesus?
It's Jesus. He was on my quiz bowl team with me
Oh, wow.
in college, and he's just a cool dude. He's a computer programmer, but
All right.
he's Jesus. So,
All right. Who did the German translation?
Chris from Theater 98.
Really?
Yeah, she's German, so she
Yeah.
did. She did
She's really cool.
she's.
I have a lot of, other.
And then she did them
Germans that
for me.
can totally
And
do
then the French, went to Fiverr. I had to pay for the French one. I didn't pay a lot, but I paid for the French one.
Yeah.
Do we not know any French people here?
I did, and no one had time. So, and I was just kind of in a hurry to get it done. So, got it
That's
done.
fair.
So we watched Sucker Punch from 2011,
Yeah, we did.
Yes, we did.
and so before we start, last week we talked about normally we play a game with Justina who's not seen our movies typically.
Present.
Every time we point to her, she's like waving to the camera like they don't know who she is.
Me.
But we normally play a game with you that, what do you think this movie's going to be about?
Yep.
But knowing what this movie was,
I kind of wish we had played it before and after because I probably would have given you a different answer every time.
yeah, but
Like every time.
like from the name Sucker Punch without any context, because we don't watch the trailers when we're doing the recording, and you typically don't watch the trailers anyway,
I do not.
and so you just go in blind.
Yes.
So it wouldn't. I think from the name, I don't think it would. I mean, you'd have been creative as always, but I don't think it'd have been as authentic as say like like if we did a Star Trek.
Like
or
the Prairie Dogs.
Yeah, where the prairie, something
Right.
that you have kind of an
Right.
idea of, but not
Right.
sure what of. Sucker Punch is kind of out there.
What is that movie with the kid from Arrested Development? That actor. And he has all these girlfriends and he has to
Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
When you said Sucker Punch, that's the first movie I thought of.
Oh, okay.
So in my mind it's like it's going to be like that.
Funny story, I've never seen that.
I have.
I've not seen it.
I've seen Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I've not seen it, and no reason for me not to. I just haven't done it. It hasn't crossed my path
Yet.
So I might do it on the show so I can.
And then I can
So-
be the Scotty.
Yeah, I'll let you.
There you go.
You can run the show.
Yes.
We'll do that. But since we've now all seen it, and it's this kind of movie, I have described this movie to other people as it's a movie that is the smartest movie in the room, or it thinks it's the smartest movie in the room.
Okay, that's fair. Yep.
Because there's a lot going to. So we'll start with you, Stephanie.
Now, did you rewatch it, or you just
Yeah,
going?
no, I
okay.
totally rewatched
We all-
it
Okay.
because Jamie had never seen it.
Okay.
So
we've all freshly watched
Yeah,
it.
I watched it 2 days ago.
I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
So we're good.
so
We're primed.
so yeah, you asked me what I think the movie is about.
Right.
Okay, is it weird that this movie makes complete sense to me? Like to me, it's so cut and dry what this movie is about or what's going on in the film. It's very easy for me to follow. That's the way my brain works.
A little bit. It's a little weird. It's
right.
fine.
So basically, this is a movie about a girl who was mother died, and I get the impression that she might have been abused by the stepfather prior to the mother's death. But mother died, left everything to her and her sister. Stepfather loses his shit, tries to attack her. She fights him off. He goes to attack the sister. She tries to stop him and accidentally kills her sister. And he has her taken away to a mental institution. I think at that moment when she shot her sister, with all the abuse and the loss of her mother, that she actually went insane. And that everything you see going on, like up until the very first moment you see the doctor about to give her a lobotomy, all that is real. And everything in between is her fantasy world, her insane. And the times where she dances and goes into her trance, I think that she's either being highly medicated or having shock treatment.
So it's all her psychosis.
Yeah, it's all of her psychosis, because the things that went on in her fantasy world actually happened at the institution. I mean, she did help a person escape. She did set a thing on fire. She did, you know what I'm saying? So these things are actually happened, but I think that the moments where you see her do her dance trance is where she's like, I probably having shock therapy or something like that. And the guy, the bad Poe. I call him the bad Poe.
Oscar Isaacs.
Yeah.
As Blue.
That, and he's abusing the girls. He's sexually abusing the girls in the place. And that's where in her mind she's thinking basically this is a brothel or whatnot. And, of course, he kind of tricked the doctor into signing the papers to have her lobotomized. And you know, that is the reality, you know, and that's when you see the reality again, is when the doctor there, the high roller, and he gives her the lobotomy, and then all that becomes reality again. So the entire movie is her psychosis trying to deal with killing her sister, the abuse, and everything that's happened to her. So it just made, everything in there made sense to me.
Okay, Justina.
So I missed the part where she killed her sister. I thought that she ran in the room and she was already on the ground with the blood.
She shot her.
Well, I knew that she shot at her dad and he moved away from her.
That's her stepdad.
How did you know that?
Because the clue to that is the will that he was reading. The last will and testament, the mother left everything to her 2 daughters.
I also think Oscar Isaac says that to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
When they're checking her in.
So I know at the
It's
beginning,
definitely the part. That is her stepfather.
so at the beginning, I will say I watched this by myself, and it started and it's dark, and like all this stuff is happening, right? And I definitely thought, I was like, this is going to be a horror film that I'm going to have to watch by myself. Like, I don't do horror films by myself. So
Right.
that whole first part, like, I was like on edge watching it because I was like, I can't do this, but I have to watch it. Like, I have to watch it for the thing. So I had it on. So my interpretation of the beginning was she was obviously distraught that her mother died, and she was like the protector for her sister. And, you know, she ran from her dad and stepdad, and I do agree that I think that he's abused them previously, and I don't know if the mother knew or not. We don't ever really get an idea of that, but now he's just left in charge of these kids. So she runs and goes to lock her door, and then it's like, to get back at her, he goes for the other one because he obviously knows their connection as well. But I guess I missed the part where she killed her, but I know that she was trying to defend her from the dad. So I thought that he had already like did that and then blamed it all on her.
Oh no, she totally shot her sister.
So that all being in the beginning, I do agree that it's her body's way of trying to process what happened. I didn't really ever think deep into the dancing being like shock therapy. I do know that like, if I'm doing something that I don't enjoy or that I have to do to get somewhere else, like if I go running, I imagine myself doing something else. Like, you kind of just, you save a piece of your brain. Like, you don't think about the fact that you're running. You think about something else, and then your motion just does the running so that you can actually, I don't know, run even if you don't want to. So, like, in that sense, to me, it felt like she was partitioning herself. Like, and that was all like a deep inception of everything else going on. The first part of the movie threw me off. Like, I was so frustrated because I was like, I have no idea what's going on. We're getting like 5 storylines. Like, it starts with this abuse, and then all of a sudden she's in a mental institution, and now there's a brothel, and I don't understand. It was very confusing, but I do think that it was her way of coping, and that I think that, you know, he blamed her for the death as if she went crazy. And I don't think she went crazy. I think that was accidental. Like, she was just trying to protect her sister. And then everything was like, it was her fault. Like, she did that. And everybody looked at her like she had gone crazy. And being in the same situation, I probably would have done the same, where she was like, these are the ways for me to escape. And it was like, she had to act out. She had to get somebody out. She had to start a fire. She had to do all the stuff so that they would lobotomize her, and then she wouldn't have to think about it anymore. And I think that's what it came down to, is she couldn't handle the grief of losing her mom and then being the protector for her sister and not being able to protect her. And I think she was coherent. Like, I think she intentionally did that, and she partitioned her brain in a sense. Like, she imagined this world where it's like this fantasy adventure to get where she needed to go to save her sister, essentially. Because, like, the person in the fantasy is the older sister that gets out. It's like, you know, Rocket died, but you can get out and be free, and I have to sacrifice myself for that. So it's like, internally, she could be free, but she had to sacrifice her body.
But do you not think that that's part of the insanity, though, for her to create such an extensive fantasy world?
I don't know. I feel like that's interpretation. Because, again, I know that it's easy for me to imagine things or pretend like something different is happening, or pretend like I'm somewhere different if it's somewhere that I don't want to be.
But
and I don't feel like I'm
steam-powered
insane.
zombie Nazis?
This is one of the reasons why I like this movie. There's a lot of films that we watch that are pretty cut and dry. Tank Girl, while weird, is pretty cut and dry. It's got a linear storyline. This, while it has a linear storyline, it's incredibly up to interpretation.
It is.
And that's why I say it is either the smartest movie in the room, or at least it thinks it is the smartest movie in the room. It may not be. And that's for us to decide as we discuss this. Here's my interpretation.
Throw it down, Scotty.
I think, like, again, I don't think anyone's wrong. I think, you know, I think you have both great ideas. I don't think there is an Amber, a Rocket, a Sweet Pea. I don't think any of those people exist.
I agree.
I think all of those are pieces of her psyche, as being removed as she's being lobotomized. Because they all die at different points.
Except for Sweet Pea.
Who
escapes.
Who escapes when she's at peace, going to Fort Wayne. So that's what happened. That's what I believe is that. I think the dancing is not shock treatment or shock therapy or therapy. I think it's sexual abuse. I think it's rape. I think that's the moments where she's being raped by Blue or whomever when she's given, and that's how they're interpreting it through this dance that she has that we never see, and that's the reason why we never see it. It's horrific. We shouldn't see that, and so I think she did all those things to try to escape on her own and doesn't do it successfully. And of course, in the end, she doesn't win, or does she? It's a dark ending. It is a dark. You follow this hero who loses everything. I mean, lobotomies are terrible. And in the end, for all this fight to lose, and then in a way, if Sweet Pea doesn't exist and Sweet Pea is a part of her psyche, that's the one that's at peace. Maybe she wins a little. I don't know. It's a crazy movie.
It's dark.
So, do you think that if you feel that it is like the moments that she's being raped, do you think that that's something that she had already been doing throughout her life? When she may have been abused by her stepdad.
I don't think that she's abused by her stepdad. And the reason why I don't think she's not abused by her stepdad, I think her mother protects her. And then her mother goes down and dies. And then she, clearly Baby Doll resists. And then he has to force himself on to the sister, which she goes and tries to defend and ultimately ends up killing her. I can't remember. I kind of vaguely remember a line where Oscar Isaac says that she shot her sister, but I'm not sure if that's 100% clear or not. Like, I think that's the story they told. He may have killed her. I'm not sure.
No, if you go back and watch
I'm
that
gonna
moment,
watch that beginning.
if you watch that moment when she goes to fight. Or when she goes to shoot her stepfather, she misses him. The bullet hits something else in the room and her sister.
Well, it hits the light fixture, which is above her sister's height.
Yeah.
I was under the interpretation, and again,
but
I know that I didn't watch
gunshot,
it.
Though. There was only one. You only hear
I
one
think
gunshot.
because there was thudding. I think he bashed her into the ground. I thought that's
she
what
had a bullet
happened.
wound. It shows her with.
Did she?
Yeah,
I thought so. In the head.
So I wonder if it just ricocheted off the light.
It could have ricocheted off the wall or something. The light and hit her in the head.
So let's get into this. I just want to hear our interpretations beforehand. I think it's incredibly exciting, and we'll continue more in the discussion. But I think it's great.
Okay.
So Sucker Punch came out in 2011. Came out in March. That's significant because it's the first movie you and I went to see in the theaters together.
I know.
We had just become friends a few months earlier.
Yep.
Oh,
that's awesome.
I think we were working on Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you and I went.
Well,
yeah.
Were we working on Cuckoo's Nest, or was Cuckoo's Nest already done by then?
No, because it's a spring show, so we were working on.
We were rehearsing Cuckoo's Nest.
Cuckoo's Nest, yeah.
Ironic that we're doing a movie. I mean, a play about a mental institution.
So, movie is written and directed by Zack Snyder. It's also written by Steve Shibuya.
Shibuya. That's a cool name.
Stars Emily Browning as Baby Doll, Abby Cornish as Sweet Pea, Jenna Malone as Rocket, Vanessa Hudgens as Blondie. Vanessa Hudgens from the Disney's High School Musical. This was her first thing from High School Musical.
I never saw High School Musical.
She was very big with the tweens, and she wanted to do something completely.
Was that Amber?
Blondie.
Blondie,
Yeah.
the one that
I didn't know
ratted.
her.
Okay,
Yeah,
I knew the
one
girl
who
who
was
played
a blonde.
Rocket was
Isn't
in.
that
The girl that was Rocket was in the
is it Twilight?
Hunger Games.
Hunger Games. I could not remember
Hunger
who
Games.
what she was in,
Yeah.
but I recognized her.
She was in the Hunger Games movies.
It bothered me the whole time.
Jamie Chung as Amber, Oscar Isaacs as Blue, John Hamm as the High Roller, Scott Glenn as the Wise Man, and Carla Gugino as Dr. Vera Gorski. It's a big cast.
It was a really good
It's
cast.
a really big, and everybody just on top notch with everything, so it's good stuff. Are you ready for the sermon?
Preach it.
Good luck.
I cheated. I went to Wikipedia.
There you go.
I thought about
Because I've
that.
never done that before.
No, honestly, because I wanted to see what Wiki thought compared to what we thought. I mean, I could have typed something up, but when I type something, when I write this stuff, it's kind of my interpretation of it.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that in this version. So, in the 1960s, which I did not know.
No, it totally looked like the 40s to me. I thought because of all the Nazi stuff, I thought for sure it was the 40s.
Zack Snyder, though, has this way to make things look timeless. I didn't think it looked like modern, but I wouldn't put it in the 60s.
I totally would have been 40s
So-
or 30s or some shit.
A young
Oh,
woman.
that was World War I, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 19. Oh, sorry. In the 1960s, a young woman nicknamed Baby Doll is introduced by her abusive widowed stepfather at the fictional Lennox house for the mentally insane in Brattleboro, Vermont. Didn't know that either. This movie happens in Vermont. After he accuses her of her young sister's death, he bribes an asylum orderly, Blue Jones, to forge the signature of the asylum's psychiatrist, Vera Gorski, to have Baby Doll lobotomized so she cannot inform authorities of the true circumstances of her sister's death.
Oh, well, wait a minute now.
Right?
Okay.
During her admission to the institution, Baby Doll takes notes of 4 items that she needs to attempt to escape.
Do you want me to tell you what those are?
Please.
Like you pause.
No, sure.
Do it in order.
Map, fire, knife, key, mystery item.
Oh,
There you go.
She did watch the movie.
I did. That's crazy. Oh my gosh.
Baby Doll slips into a fantasy world in which she's newly arrived in a brothel owned by Blue, whom she envisions as a mobster, where she and the other patients are sex slaves. In this realm, she befriends 4 other patients/dancers: Amber, Blondie, Rocket, and Rocket's sister, and star of the show, Sweet Pea. Dr. Gorski is envisioned as the girl's dance instructor. Blue informs Baby Doll that her virginity will be sold to a client known as the High Roller, who is actually the doctor scheduled to perform her lobotomy.
Oh, I wonder if that's another clue as to the fact that he did not rape her because she's a virgin. Because they bring that up repeatedly throughout
Right.
the movie.
Well, maybe Blue, as in the orderly, was actually going to sell her virginity to another orderly or something, or another somebody coming
Yeah.
in. Could have been something like that. 'Cause,
Possibly.
You know.
High dollar.
Gorski encourages Baby Doll to perform an erotic dance, during which Baby Doll further fantasizes she's in feudal Japan, meeting the Wise Man. After she expresses her desire to escape, the Wise Man presents Baby Doll with weapons, which were
Previously mentioned.
It was a samurai sword and a gun.
katana.
Just kidding.
And the gun looks sweet.
Yeah, it does.
She had 2. She had one on each side.
Yeah.
There was a picture of her one on each side, but he only gave her one, so I don't know what happened there.
Magic.
Magic.
The Wise Man presents Baby Doll with weapons and tells her she needs to collect 5 items, which are
I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
Map, fire, knife, key, mystery item.
and a 5th unrevealed item that will require a deep sacrifice, but will bring a perfect victory. She then fights 3 samurai giants. As her fantasy ends, she finds herself back in the brothel. Her dance has impressed Blue and the other onlookers.
So I think it's fascinating and also interesting. Like, I know the whole time I was like, just show it. But they never show the dance. Ever. Because the dance is the
I
fight.
think in real life that her dance is much like Elaine's on Seinfeld.
I don't know what that
But
is.
she can't dance at all.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
She
I think we made that joke when we said when we saw
Yeah.
the pictures.
I just see her doing-
Wouldn't it be great? It's just
doing
the worst dancer ever.
That's a weird
So I remember first watching this, and Zack Snyder has a style to his film. All his films have this kind of
gritty
art style. Like it's like when the same thing you see when you see a Tim Burton film, you know you're going to see a Zack Snyder film. It's that kind of look to it. And so, we're watching the beginning of this, and it's interesting. It's really great. And then it gets into the first fantasy, and then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm going to love this. And it's just these 3 giant rock samurais, and she's just beating the crap out of them, and it's just.
and also the music is freaking phenomenal through the whole movie.
A lot of it that Emily Browning sang, which is Baby Doll.
I didn't know she could sing.
I didn't know
she did Sweet Dreams and White Rabbit, and another one of the song. I think the ending song. I think all the
I
girls sing.
also like to point out that I think she's immortal because she is in American Gods and looks just the same,
Oh, she
except
might
a
be.
different color hair.
She might be.
She doesn't look like
she's dead wife in that.
Yeah, she's dead wife, but still, I think that she's tiny.
She is tiny.
All right, continuing on. Baby doll convinces the 4 girls to join her in preparing an escape. She plans to use her dance as a distraction while the other girls obtain the necessary tools. During her dance, she imagines fantastic adventures that mirror the escape efforts. These adventures include infiltrating a bunker protected by steampunk-inspired World War I German soldiers to gain a map, mirrored by Sweet Pea copying a map that of the brothel/institution from Blue's office. Storming an orc-infested castle to retrieve 2 fire-producing crystals from the inside of a baby dragon, mirrored by Amber stealing a lighter from the mayor's pocket. And boarding a train and fighting a robotic guard to disarm a bomb, mirrored by Sweet Pea stealing a kitchen knife from the cook's belt.
That one was intense.
During the last fantasy, Rocket sacrifices herself to save Sweet Pea and is killed when the bomb detonates, which is paralleled by the cook fatally stabbing Rocket when she's trying to protect her sister. So,
By the way, I just want to say that my husband got up to go to the bathroom right before Rocket got killed. And when he came back, he said, "What happened?" And I said, "Well, Rocket, Amber, and Blondie are all dead now." It's like, that's it. That's how fast that happens.
well, you should have paused the movie for the man.
He knew what he was getting into.
That's it.
Blue overhears Blondie relaying Baby Doll's plan to Gorski, confirming his suspicions that something is amiss. He has Sweet Pea locked in a utility closet and confronts the other girls backstage. He shoots Amber and Blondie and attempts to rape Baby Doll, but she stabs him with a kitchen knife and steals his master key. Baby Doll frees Sweet Pea and starts a fire to keep the orderlies occupied while they seek an exit. They escape into the courtyard where a throng of men block their way. Throng is not a word that's used often.
Throng.
Thank you, Wikipedia. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out why. Throng of men. The escape to the corridor where a throng of men block their way. Baby Doll deduces that the 5th item she needs is actually her own sacrifice. She concludes that this is actually Sweet Pea's story. Despite Sweet Pea's protest, she insists on revealing herself to the visitors, thus distracting them long enough to allow her friend to slip away unnoticed. Back in the asylum, the surgeon has just performed Baby Doll's lobotomy. Gorski notes that during her short stay, the girl stabbed an orderly, started a fire, and helped another girl escape the asylum. The surgeon is baffled by Baby Doll's expression and asks Gorski why she authorized the procedure and many identical ones before. Gorski realizes that Blue has been forging her signature and summons the police, who apprehends Blue as he attempts to sexually assault and lobotomize Baby Doll.
He has a stab wound, and it's great. The orderly at the end there.
While being led away, Blue also incriminates the stepfather. Baby Doll is shown smiling serenely, having apparently found freedom within her own inner paradise. At the bus station, Sweet Pea, having stolen a dress to better blend in, is stopped by police as she tries to get on the bus to Fort Wayne. But the bus driver, the wise man, rescues her by misleading the police and letting her aboard. She thanks him and he says that there's a long way to go as the bus leaves. During the ending credits, Gorski and Blue perform Love is the Drug in the glitzy musical sequence that includes all 5 female leads in the end.
Okay.
It's a little bizarre.
I'm not going to act like I wasn't frustrated for like the first half of it because I could not figure out what was happening. And then I genuinely thought that like the mental institution was just like a setup for a brothel, and that was the real story, and that the fighting was just her dealing with having to be the sex item for men after the past that she's endured. And then that final scene, I think, really sets everything off to where you can have so many different interpretations. Like up until then, it's kind of this fun, I hate to say the word fun, but it's a fun movie where like there's action, adventure, they're trying to do this stuff, they're trying to break free of these chains holding them and all this stuff. And then at the very end, it like wraps it back up. You have it very serious at the beginning and at the end, to the point where you're like, oh, that was all in her head. All of it was in her head. But I mean, it stops like right when we first meet the girls, where Sweet Pea objects to the lobotomy and this pretend dance because she's like,
Right.
it's not sexy, and then it stops. So like you really do feel like you hit the point where you're like, well, this is where she really is.
I like how she sums up the movie. She's like, okay, I get the schoolgirl outfit. I get the helpless little middle patient, but I don't get the lobotomy part. And it's like, yeah, we're not all going to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's points where they're like, yeah, we get the schoolgirl, we get the insane asylum, and then it's like, the ending, and we're not going to get that.
Well, I'm wondering if, because she was I don't think she went in there insane. So she probably, because the dude was like right behind them filling out the paperwork. So she probably did hear the conversation with like handle it. And he was like, she won't even remember her name when I'm done with her and all this stuff. Was she fighting the lobotomy the whole time and then realized at the end that is her sweet release, is just to have it done and then she won't remember?
I don't know, but I
don't
do
know.
know that my mother used to work in a mental institution in the 60s, a state-run mental institution, and they're horrible places. And especially in the 60s, it was nothing just to give patients all kinds of psychotropic drugs and give them shock therapy just to calm them down and stuff like that. So I think being put in situations like that, and I mean, there's no doubt the orderlies were sexually abusing these
Yeah.
girls. You know, I honestly believe that she did go insane.
Oh, she probably did go insane for sure, but I don't think she arrived insane.
Oh no.
I was going to do fun facts about lobotomies, and so I started looking them up, and then I got bummed.
Fun facts about lobotomies.
And then I got, because, I like to throw fun facts in every show that's got something interesting. And I thought, well, that would be interesting to learn about lobotomies. And so I started learning about lobotomies, and I got so bummed out.
How
that
about famous people that were lobotomized?
the most famous, I would say, would be Rose Kennedy.
Yeah, she was pretty famous.
That's JFK's sister. And there wasn't really anything wrong with her. She probably had borderline personality disorder, and her father had her lobotomized and basically rendered her an infant after that.
Why?
Or if you want to,
because that was how it was done.
Oh my gosh.
she probably was just on the spectrum. She probably is just autistic or something.
She
just acted out.
Yeah, women didn't act out back then.
We would have been lobotomized a long time ago, ladies.
So, fun facts about lobotomies that I can remember. I can't remember the guys who invented it in Portugal, but they did get a Nobel Prize for it.
Yeah.
So, and it was widely used for like 20 years.
I mean, if you think about the fact that you're taking one thing and putting it strategically in a spot, and then that person's still there but not there, I mean, that's kind of a powerful thing to do.
It killed 5% of its patients every time because you are piercing the brain, so it would kill up to 5% of the position. A lot of times the person, well, like 90% of the time, the person after the robot would be rendered helpless and then have to be retrained to be a person again, and then they would be different, but
Not right.
not quite right, but better. And a lot of times hospitals use it. If you had an unruly patient, they just lobotomize you, and you would be a ruly patient. You were easy to manage, and that's all they cared about, because if they couldn't control you, they wanted to manage you, and that was the quick way to do
That's
it.
super depressing.
That's why I didn't include them all. I was like, oh. Luckily, it's no longer being performed. So now it's been kind of used as a term for being barbaric.
It is.
And so-
It is terrible.
So before we get to the libations, I like
I'm so ready for libations, though. I'm so ready.
you can start preparing.
Well, no, just say, can we talk about some of the wise men quotes?
Sure.
That, like, every time they would go into this crazy fantasy sequence, he'd have this little catchphrase or quote that he would do, and how cute that was.
You got a favorite?
Well, of course, my favorite is like, don't write a check with your mouth. Your ass can't cash.
Cash.
Yeah, that one's cute.
The Wise Man was great. He was probably one of my favorite people in
Scott
that whole
Glenn's
movie.
a great
got
actor.
some other ones. For those who fight for it, life will have a flavor the sheltered will never know. That's a good one. Hold on. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I
Yeah.
like
That
that
was a good one.
So, I mean, there's a lot of them, but I enjoyed that part of it.
So what was your favorite fantasy?
My favorite was the World War I zombie Nazis.
They're not Nazis.
Well, they were German.
Yeah, but they were World War One. So
Well, I know, but
they were
I call them
Nazis.
zombie
They
Nazis.
were Nazis.
They're close enough, man.
Krauts, man.
They were.
Zombie Krauts.
It reminded me of what was that movie now? Why can't I? Hellboy. And didn't they have like one of the Germans who had
Yeah, he was Clockwork. Yeah.
a clockwork Nazi.
Yeah.
And I thought that's very, very much what it reminded me of.
The action sequence in that was awesome, though.
It was really good. I love that, and I love the big robot thing that was it Amber.
The Amber flying.
Amber was flying.
And the bunny face.
Yeah, that was really cool. So everything had that kind of crazy Japanese feel to it, but yeah, that was definitely my favorite fantasy.
You have one?
The very first one.
Oh, the one first samurai.
Yeah, because I like that she goes in it lost and confused and unsure of what's happening, and then like leaves it confident and determined. And she gets beat up a little bit in the beginning, and it takes her a little bit to discover. Like, I like that she didn't just automatically was like, "Oh, cool, I have a sword. Let me go kick this dude's ass real quick. It's fine. It's not weird." Like, she was startled and thrown around and had to realize that she had to fight or she would be defeated. I like the first one.
No, I do too.
That was my fave.
I like the fight sequence in the German one. I think my favorite though is the one with the dragon.
Is it because it had a dragon?
No, that pissed me off. They killed that mama's baby. And if I had been that mama dragon, I would have killed them all. I was pissed off about them hurting that baby dragon.
Gotta get the fire.
No, that wasn't her favorite.
I did not like that one. I was
Like
very
the orcs.
angry about
I like watching Scott Glenn throw that propane bomb to blowing up the orcs. I took that out of it. I like the last one too. The train. I mean, they're all good. The train. So, spoiler a little. I'm gonna jump a little ahead while she's doing it. I will go ahead and say this movie did not do well in the box office.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
When did it come out? 2011?
2011. It came out in spring 2011. Couple of reasons why Warner Brothers, who got it, didn't understand how to market it.
Yeah. It's a difficult film to
right,
market.
Right. So that being said, would it be more? Do you think it would be a better story if they just made a movie about these fantasies and like these characters in this fantasy world instead of trying to do this existential mental institution story? It's almost like live action anime. That's what I really thought it was like.
I don't think so. But at the same time, like, I wasn't nearly as interested in the fight scenes. I paid way less attention to those than I did anything else.
Cool.
Like, to me, it was just like I'm about the story though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the fight scenes were beautiful. Like, they were awesomely done. But the whole time I was like, okay, she's fighting because she's dancing. They're going to either get their goal or not get their goal. And it was interesting to see how it tied together. Like, for example, when Rocket died, the way that she died with like throwing her sister in a jetpack in the sky, and she stayed on the train, and she threw herself in front of the knife. Like, it was interesting to see how they paralleled her real life brothel, because it's obviously not real life either.
Right.
So that was interesting, but for the most part, I feel like having that story gave those scenes purpose. They had a reason to continue. They weren't just like random fight scenes like the Powerpuff Girls.
100% agree. I like the story's a little. The story's getting clear, but I think that's the joy in it.
So I didn't watch the trailer, but now I'm curious. Does the trailer focus on the mental institution aspect of it or the fighting aspect of it?
A little bit of both. It's mostly about the effects and fighting, because I think that's what Warner Brothers was trying to sell up. Like, hey, this is an action film, and don't think about it too much, and then they end up thinking about it too much.
Yeah, I don't like it when people do that. Like production companies and stuff. I don't like it when they market a film a certain way, but it's a different way, because you're just assuming everybody wants to see it the way you market it, but some people might have been more interested if they knew what it was really. Right. People like different things. I don't like it when companies do that. I wish they would just tell it for what it is.
There's that. I mean, that is true.
She's
just rocking on these libations. Look at her.
I'm so fascinated.
I am like, I know our audience is too. I'm just like,
y'all seeing this? Make it yourself.
Right. Libations are
Join
ready.
us.
All right, so it's time for libations.
All right, passing them around.
All right.
She said pass it around.
Pass it
and
around.
Then
Damn it, I'm just-
she went to like hand me one. I get 2.
All right. So
Smells good.
our libation today is called Sucker Punch.
Yes.
It is 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of sour apple pucker, a splash of cranberry, and top with 7-Up.
Oh, nice.
So
Cheers.
cheers.
Oh, that is good.
Oh,
It's pretty
that
good.
is delightful.
There you go.
As always, the recipe will be on the show notes and probably on the screen if I get in time. So,
There you go.
I have some apocrypha for you.
Do
All
it.
right.
So there's 2 versions of this movie.
Really?
Yeah, there's a director's cut because the studio cut a bunch to because the studio wanted a PG-13 rating and it kept getting an R rating, and so they kept doing.
Why would you even
I
want
feel like
that to be
if you
PG-13?
I just realized that I was doing it. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, you go.
I don't know. I was just wondering why you would want that to be PG-13.
Because they want because I think Warner Brothers didn't know what they had, and so they looked at it on its surface. Oh, cute girls in short skirts with guns will
Young
be-
boys.
will young boys will dig that, and so they'll just flock to the
Yeah.
theaters to watch young girls in skirts.
Or young lesbians.
And fine. There's that too.
I feel like Rocket was a lesbian for sure,
Possibly.
and
think-
Blondie.
together.
I'm thinking Blondie and
That'd be
Rocket
hot.
were lesbians.
They're all lesbians. This whole movie's Blue's a lesbian.
I'm sure he is.
I feel like you have to stop for a second if you're constantly pushing, like, we're going to get that PG-13 rating, and then it keeps coming up R. I feel like you have to, like, take a step back and go, this might be an R movie.
Let's embrace the R.
Like, if we can't make it
Let's make it extra.
PG-13,
Sorry.
let's see we do it.
I know. God,
I'm so
I
aware
didn't
of it
even know
now,
we did
but
it.
we're catching it. And that's what matters. We're growing. We're
We are
growing,
growing.
audience.
Whoever gave that note. Number 1. Number 2, thank you. I said thank you.
Nothing wrong with criticism.
We do appreciate it. But
No,
now
we
it's
do.
like I've noticed that while he was talking and doing the thing, like I kept going to say something. I was like, wait for him to breathe. Wait for him to breathe.
Oh, well.
It's okay.
So there was originally a scene between the High Roller and Baby Doll where he seduces and makes love to her. The MPAA demanded it be cut down, and the scene ended a little like he was taking advantage of her. Zack Snyder felt it sent the wrong message and ultimately cut the scene out entirely, but it's later in the director's cut. There's like 18 minutes.
So is there a way we could watch the director's cut?
Yeah, you can buy it on Amazon, like $12.
I want to see that so much.
I actually may have it on the. I have a physical copy. It's in storage, but I think it has the director's cut on the Blu-ray.
If you do, we should all get together.
Yeah, we can do that. Director's cut
Cool.
release. Zack Snyder and Emily Browning have been vocal about their displeasure about the situation. They wanted the director's cut, and the studio said no. And so other people to be cast as Baby Doll.
Interesting.
Amanda Seyfried, Olivia Thirlby.
Amanda Seyfried is the, oh my gosh, Seyfried. Amanda. Oh, I know her. Hang on, don't touch. Mamma Mia.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, guys.
You did so good.
Maya Wiskowska, who I don't remember.
I have no idea who that
Who
is.
were all chosen before Emily Browning was cast. Evan Rachel Wood was the first choice as Rocket.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
Who?
She's the main person on Westworld.
Yeah, she's awesome. I like her.
She's very sexy. Very pretty.
So if the other two were chosen before Emily, why was Emily the one that got it?
They either dropped out or
Contract issues. Timing, whatever.
Evan Rachel Wood couldn't do it because of scheduling conflicts, and then Jenna Malone replaced her.
I think she did great, and she really embodied the whole baby.
Yeah, baby
look.
doll.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm gonna cosplay her.
So I was thinking about. I really like this movie. I'm spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
And because we usually say that for the end. So spoiler, I really like this movie. And so I was thinking about things to put in the office because we're decorating the other side of the office to kind of to have prop culture things. And so I really wanted me kind of a baby doll figure or a statue or something so I could put on the shelf so we could have it just as part of our pop culture collection. They exist.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they are expensive. Like, oh my God. I was like, I can't. There's a beautiful statue that's like $600.
Jesus Christ.
Scott, I don't think we need
Jesus
that.
Cristo.
And then there's the action figure that's like $300.
$300 action figure?
Yeah, or doll, either or. It's gorgeous. Hot Toys make it. I'm not buying it, but I'm just like. But if anyone would like to donate one, I would gladly. Put it
I
on the
love
wall.
it. Donate one. I'm going on Amazon right now.
eBay. eBay's your best bet. Angelina Jolie was considered as the role of Dr. Vera Gorski.
Oh, I could see that.
I could see that, but I like who they cast in.
Yeah.
I thought she did a great job.
Yeah, she's a Zack Snyder favorite. She was in Watchmen.
She's in Spy Kids too.
Yep.
She's a mom.
So, bar trivia. Emily Browning sang three of the songs featured in the film. She sang "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This," at the beginning of the movie "Asleep," which plays with Baby Doll crying in the bathroom, and she's featured on the track "Where's My Mind."
What else has she been in? She's immortal. She's in Greek Gods or something. Is that what you
she's
said?
in American Gods. Yeah,
American Gods.
Wasn't she in?
she was in True Blood too. I thought.
No.
No, somebody was in True Blood. Maybe it was Evan Rachel Wood.
No.
In True Blood.
I just finished watching that whole series again.
Somebody, I just saw somebody on the list was on True Blood. I was looking through their stuff, and I can't remember.
I don't know, but I know that she was. We're talking about Emily Browning. She was on Pompeii, I think, in that movie Pompeii.
Yeah, she was in Pompeii. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I don't think I've seen her in anything else because I haven't seen any of that stuff. I should watch something.
Pompeii's got Jon Snow in it.
Okay.
From Game of Thrones. Whatever his real name is. Isn't that sad? I don't know his real name. He's always going to be Jon Snow.
yeah, there's those actors that get that one role, and they're like,
Yeah.
you know nothing, Jon Snow.
You're Jon Snow now. I'm sorry.
Like Morpheus.
So Morpheus.
Morpheus.
Two other things. One, you can read more about this on the IMDb page. I'm not going to get in too far into because I got real excited about it, and then I started doing research. And I couldn't find anything. But according to someone on had posted on the trivia that there's parts of this movie that sync up with the 1973 Pink Floyd album Dark Side of the Moon.
Really?
Maybe, I don't know. So there's the legend that Wizard of Oz links up, and it kind of does, but it's more coincidence than anything, to be honest. So do you know
if you
did
play
you know about that?
So if you play the album and watch the movie without the volume on the movie and just play the album, is that what you're talking about?
I've heard about it being with some movie, but I didn't know which one it was.
So the famous one is Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, and Wizard of Oz. So at the there's a certain point when the movie starts and the album starts, they seem to go together.
Interesting.
They don't like. I've watched. I actually think I have a bootleg copy of it with a different soundtrack on it, and it's like. I can see what they're saying, but it's coincidence. I don't think Pink Floyd was like, let's watch Wizard of Oz and make an album to it. I don't think there's enough drugs in the world to do that.
Well, I feel like it probably has more to do with the fact that you have a basic setup for how a film goes.
Right.
Like you have an issue where like there's a call to action and like all of these things, and their album is probably set up like you have the beginning songs. I honestly haven't listened to the whole album all the way through, but it's like you have beginning songs, then you have like action, and then you have like a conclusion. So it probably just follows a natural flow of a typical movie, and you could probably sync it up to a lot of movies if you just found them that were timed the same.
Right. But speaking of Pink Floyd, I don't know if either one of you have ever seen The Wall, but The Wall reminds me very much of this movie as far as the lead character is insane and he has these fantasies, goes off into these weird, bizarre fantasy world.
Could be some
It's
influence.
kind of interesting.
But I went and did some research on it, and I couldn't find anything. I was hoping to find at least a clip of someone tying it in. I couldn't find that. So, if you know more about it, you want to go show me. I'd like to know more. We'll do it in the
Knowledge is
meeting.
power.
Yeah. Lastly, Zack Snyder had a quote
Okay.
about this movie before it was out.
Quote.
He said, a while ago I had written a script for myself, and there was a sequence in it that made me think, how can I make a film that can have an action sequence in it that aren't limited by the physical realities that normal people are limited by, but still have the story make sense so it's not. And I don't mean like in a bullshit thing like Ultraviolet or something like that. shots out fired to ultraviolet. So I thought that was interesting.
It is interesting.
That's a good way to do it.
Yep. Screw, Mary, kill.
Sure.
Baby doll rocket blue.
Oh. I'll go first.
See, well, why couldn't you put High Roller in there instead of Rocket?
Because High Roller has he's in the movie for 4 seconds.
That's fair because I don't remember what he looks like.
It's John Hamm. It just looks
He's
like John.
gorgeous.
Okay, you guys say John
if you,
Hamm.
But if you want to, if you
who's
want,
John Hamm?
If you want to marry or screw John Hamm, you can add him if you'd like.
Okay.
I'm not. This was my.
He can be your
suggestion.
mistress.
You may have another one. I just I went with people who had better screen time.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, Blue's gone. F that bitch. Bye. And then, so if it came down to Baby Doll and Rocket, I would probably marry Baby Doll. Well, I don't know. Oh, that's hard. I would probably marry Baby Doll and screw Rocket. She seems like she'd be a lot of fun. Take you to bed.
All right.
I
would.
Rocket's definitely a name.
Yeah, I'm talking about the rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy, the rocket from this film. It doesn't matter at this point. Find me some other rockets. They're probably just as good. I don't know.
I will kill Baby Doll because she's lobotomized and crazy anyway, and I don't need that in my life. I would definitely screw Blue because he's pretty sexy, and he's I can think of him as Poe. He's the bad Poe. And
very unattractive.
I would marry the High Roller because John Hamm is drop dead gorgeous, and he's a doctor, so he's got money, and he's a High Roller, so he's got money. There you go.
I would kill Blue because he's a bad man.
Same.
I would. I'd screw Baby Doll because she's hot.
She is hot.
She's hot.
I'm married to her.
See, I just don't think so.
And then I think Rocket has a better head on her shoulders since the other one's lobotomized, so I'll marry her.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You say what you're gonna say, and then I'm
I
gonna
was
follow
just
it
gonna
up.
say, out of all the girls, I think the best looking one, the one that I was most attracted to was Blondie.
Blondie was very attractive.
She did it for me.
I liked Blue more in her action sequences.
Like her fantasy world?
Yes.
Yeah,
because
of
her taking charge and fighting bad guys was much more attractive to me than
You talking about Rocket?
Blue.
Blue?
No,
Blue
no,
was the
Blue.
guy. I was
No,
about
Blue.
to say.
Baby Doll.
You totally.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
The bees. But Baby Doll was much more attractive in those because it was the same as me saying the first one was my favorite. By the end of it, she had that confidence.
Yeah.
And she did in the brothel reality, but at the same time, every time she went into that sequence, it was when she opened her eyes and came to when she was dancing, it was a whole different person. It was a psychologically, it was almost like a realm where she was in charge, where she could defeat the bad guys, and she did it confidently and killed it. That was attractive to me. But the Blue baby. The Baby Doll in the brothel one was, I think, too timid to be attractive because it was, for me, it was too timid.
Well, physically, she's not my type. I like my women kind of like my men. I like them to be a little bit stronger looking. She's way too petite and frail looking to me. For me,
soft and delicate.
Yeah, I don't like the small and delicate girls. I want somebody who can throw me around a little bit.
You can be small and delicate and throw people around.
Well, you know what I mean.
She was small and delicate and threw people around with. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but in real life, she really couldn't.
That's why this is a fantasy.
Maybe.
This is a
Maybe.
fantasy. This is a fantasy game. I'm not talking about Emily Browning. I'm talking about Baby Doll.
Oh yeah, there is that. I do love her. I think she's great, and that she's probably one of the best things about American Gods because that's a messed up show.
First season's really great. Second season's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cosplay her for sure.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought.
I would like to cosplay one. I'll cosplay Blondie.
Okay, but I want to do her when she's first coming in because she's very attractive.
In the gray.
Yes,
Baby Doll
because
outfit.
it's a one-piece outfit. I have had 3 kids. This isn't gonna get seen. Like after she was like in her like badass outfit and she's wearing like the little skirt. It's not because I'm not an attractive person, Scotty, and I appreciate you, but there's a lot of stretch marks.
I appreciate you.
So like that's
You
just
could
not
get a
something
spray
I
tan
show
and cover
off.
up the stretch marks.
Yeah, I don't know. I could do like a high waisted skirt and I'd be okay with that because I've worn that before.
Yeah.
With like a crop top.
You
And
could do that.
I could do that. I would kill that.
So, interesting side note: the mop doll, the original mop doll,
Yeah.
has a baby doll outfit.
Oh.
She does.
She does. She has
The
a baby
little
doll.
like sailor dress
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, she
That's
has a baby
See
doll.
that
adorable.
with the tie, pigtails, headband.
See, I just don't. I know. I don't relate to her.
Y'all see
That's
it?
why I'm gonna be. I'm gonna
You
be.
see it, don't you?
I'm gonna be Blondie. I'm gonna have to get me a dark wig though.
Lots of makeup to make my
So-
face
so-
look
I was
really
very
fresh.
I just want to say one more thing real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
Out of all the women, why was there no redhead? I was a little pissed off about that.
Talk to Zack Snyder. I don't know.
There were no redheads.
They could be. They were all wearing wigs from time to time. You don't know there wasn't ever a redhead.
Interesting enough, Rocket. You know why she has a pixie cut?
I imagine she was.
Because she's a lesbian.
No, I thought it had something to do with her
Is
being in.
Is that
When was
is that a thing?
Hunger Games? I thought it
Yes.
was like either going into or coming off Hunger Games.
No.
Why?
Hunger Games was after Sacrifice.
Yeah.
She had dyed her hair blonde, and it killed her hair, so she had to cut it.
Ah,
She dyed her hair blonde for this movie. She was going to be very blonde.
she was going to be very blonde.
and then
Aw.
it killed her hair, and so they gave her a pixie cut.
She should have gone and had that. I feel like she had enough money to have somebody do that for her.
Well, I feel like if
correctly.
your hair's killed, it's killed.
Yes, so
No, I meant like she should have gone to a salon or something.
I've-
Had it done professionally.
she probably did.
She probably
Really?
didn't.
Yeah.
When I went blonde, it didn't kill my hair.
Yeah, but
Different hair.
different
Yeah,
things
it's
that
true.
happen. Things happen.
I mean, maybe she was like super dehydrated or her hair molecules.
Yeah.
Molecules? Something about it. They could have like, maybe she had dyed it a lot for other movies and the blonde just was like,
Fun
Gotta go.
fact. Charmed, when Alyssa Milano went really, really short haired,
Mhm.
same thing. After all the over processing that she had done throughout the series, her hair was like completely screwed and they had to cut it all off and she had to start over. So that's why she went really short hair.
Short hair killed a TV show.
radio killed the.
No,
No, video killed
Short
the
hair
radio.
killed a TV show. Felicity was on the WB,
Oh, yeah, she had those curls.
and she had I can't think of the actress's name.
That's, what's her, geez.
She was just in the Rise of Skywalker too. I can't. Think
I
of
know.
her
What is her,
But she anyway.
she had that naturally good, like kinky curly
She had
hair.
beautiful hair, and then she cut it real short, and like people stopped watching the show and protested her short hair. It killed that show.
I don't know the show
I
or the
remember
person.
that. I know her
Yeah,
name,
so-
but
yeah,
I
so-
can't think of it. But yeah, I know who you're talking
So
about.
there's that.
So, as a side note, but connected, I have gotten to a place where my hair has gotten just from like dyeing it so much that I've on the fence. Like, I want to grow it out, but I feel like I probably need to cut it, but I don't want to.
Well, give it a break from
I
dyeing it
am.
for a while.
That's why it's like blue right here, and because the blue didn't stick right, like it was like just blue in this
yeah.
section. So, I am.
Also, I'm telling you, don't wash your hair every day. Get you some dry shampoo and embrace it, ma'am.
It doesn't. I'm telling you, it doesn't.
Washing your hair every day will ruin your hair.
Amen.
My
I
skin's
don't like
too
one of those.
greasy. My skin is too greasy. Like if I didn't wash it, this would get greasy and this would be
It's
dry.
okay. Hair oil is natural.
No, I don't think you understand.
I'm telling you, dry
I will
shampoo.
the
they make
next Sunday.
wonderful dry shampoos.
I won't wash my hair on Saturday, and I'll come in on Sunday and show you.
Okay.
And it will be so bad.
No, and then I'm going to bring dry shampoo.
you bring
We're
dry
going to
shampoo.
try it.
We need a
That's
whole
what I'm
can.
saying. We're going to
Okay.
try it.
Okay.
Experiment.
Be great for the video.
We are not
so-
recording that. Y'all don't get to
We're-
see me.
We're totally recording that.
It's so greasy. Oh my
All right.
gosh.
So, what do you think the budget of this movie was?
Oh, it had to have been pretty high with all the special effects. A lot of it was CGI, mind you, but even that cost. So
2011,
I'm going to say 38 million.
15 million.
$82 million.
Gee. Jesus.
Ball sack. Okay, and how much did it make?
All right. Opening weekend. What do you think it made?
15.
15.
I think that's generous.
I'm going to say 18.
Oh, close. 19.
Okay. Okay. Well,
So, how did it finish on its weekend?
on the whole weekend,
The weekend.
Fourth.
Fourth.
is it 1 through 10?
Yeah, it's always 1 through 10.
Oh, that's right. The weekend. Well, it didn't do well, so I'm gonna say 7th.
First.
Wow.
I couldn't remember what came out that weekend.
It opened it won its weekend.
It was really good.
But it was the only weekend it won. It totaled domestically $36 million.
Oh, bless it.
Worldwide, it didn't make $89 million. Opening weekend that weekend was Sucker Punch was number 1, Diary of a Wimpy Kid was number 2, Limitless was number 3, The Lincoln Lawyer number 4, and Rango was number 5.
I've never seen any of those movies. A
lot of those were kid-like movies. Rango's a kid movie, right?
Yeah, Rango sort of.
It's not Django. It's Rango.
Is Rango's the one with like the lizard or
the
something?
Johnny Depp movie.
I've never seen
When
that.
he's a Rango.
I hadn't seen it either, but I've heard of it. I'm familiar.
Where do you think it came out in the year?
52.
'70th.
95.
Wow. What about the
Still
what
top
about the
100.
soundtrack though? Have you checked? Did you check into that?
The soundtrack did pretty well. I didn't check to see how it ranked, but it's a soundtrack, so I mean it.
It was an amazing soundtrack. What that was.
So I wanted to see if you can guess the top 5 movies of the year. I will tell you this. Every one of them is a sequel. All top 5 movies is a sequel. So 2000. You don't have to give me the exact title. Just what do you think a sequel of a movie?
One of them is a Marvel movie.
No.
Really?
One of the Batman movies.
No.
I like that one. DC movie.
Nope.
Did a Star Wars come out?
Nope.
Okay, hold on.
Now let's think.
Toy Story. One of them.
No.
We're doing so good. Hold on.
We're throwing stuff down though, and I'm really proud of
I'm very
that.
proud of
Okay,
you. I'm very-
okay, hold on. There's got to be a Mission Impossible in there.
No.
Oh,
Oh, Jason Bourne?
Nope.
2011
None of the Bournes. Okay,
was
hold on.
the year that Josh and I got. No, it was the year. It was when we bought the house.
How about?
Oh, I was not doing anything when we bought the house because we bought the house. So that's scrapped.
How? Was there a Halloween movie that year?
No.
Okay.
Horror,
No. None of these are horror films. These are all
action.
All of these are.
Okay, a Hangover movie.
Well, yes, Hangover Part 2
Well
All right.
done.
Was number-
Thank you. I
was,
got one.
was number 4. So yeah,
Woohoo!
Hangover number 2 was number 4.
right, was number 4 on the list.
We're
All
keeping up.
Okay, I got one. Hold on.
I'm surprised Justina hasn't guessed one. She should have easily guessed one.
Little Mermaid. I'm just
That's not
picking
a
out
sequel.
my favorites now.
That's not a sequel.
There's many sequels.
Yeah, but none of them had theatrical sequels.
Mhm. There's up to 3.
But none of them had both.
Lion King.
Both of them were.
No.
I don't know, guys.
You
I'm
give up?
out. I'm like
No.
struggling.
She's out.
I got one. Hold on. Another sequel that did really well.
It's not Harry Potter.
Yes, number 1 was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Golly, that's that old.
Yep.
See, I thought
I
that's so
thought she-
funny because my thing was like, it's been that recent since that came out, and you were like, it's that old.
Number 2 was Transformers: Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh yeah, Transformers.
Number 3 was Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1.
Serious?
You know what's so sad about Twilight is they've come out with a new book, and
I've
I
heard.
kind of want to read it.
It's from Edward's perspective, right?
I don't know, but
It's like she's.
it's like I'm compelled to read the
she's
damn
like-
thing.
she's
I hope it.
rewrote it from the dude's perspective.
I
so-
hope the whole thing is him like really solemn, like
And there's a new Hunger
this
Games
chick
book
showed
too.
up.
Yeah, the new Hunger Games coming out. It's a
She's
prequel.
here.
Yeah.
She can't be with me.
Number 4 was Hangover Part 2. Number 5 was Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Oh,
I'm surprised we didn't get that one either. Golly.
that's it.
I forget what year it was. I don't know.
I can't remember what movies I watched when.
I know.
So we know how I felt about the movie. What do y'all think?
I love it. I've always liked it. From the time we watched it in the theater, it was an awesome movie. So I give
He's
it.
trying to
I
do
give it a
something
2
over there.
thumbs up. That's it.
The first half of it, I hated it. Like, I need you guys to know that I don't watch movies, audience, typically. I also hardly ever, rarely watch movies by myself that I'm not doing something. And I started it, and it was so weird that I couldn't connect to it, and I was frustrated, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, it's going to be a horror film, and I'm by myself in this living room, and it's late, and Jennifer wasn't around, so it was like literally by myself.
You could have called me. I'd have come over.
I'd
have hold your hand.
I
through
should
the
have
horror
because
film.
and I didn't have my crochet, and part of me was like, go get it, and then part of me like,
But you can't crochet and watch that movie.
you probably couldn't.
It's a lot to follow.
It is a lot to follow, but like I seriously just sat there, and watched it. So the whole I ended up calling Jennifer and was like, I don't understand this movie. I'm not happy about it. I'm not the first half, and then it got interesting.
I'm pointing to the shots where you're doing.
Oh yeah. And then it got interesting where it again, the story is important to me. So when it started to, one moment.
We're gonna finish this off with a shot. by the way.
When it got, I don't know why I shook it like they're together. They're not. I shook my separated buttery nipple shot. It doesn't matter because they're separated. And then I couldn't stop watching it. And then I liked it. And honestly, it wasn't until the very last scene that I decided I liked the movie, because it does hit a point where you have to go, oh my gosh, how much of that was real and how much of it was her trying to cope with what happened. And then it was like, I could watch this again. And I would enjoy the whole thing. But the first half of the film, I was very frustrated.
I think it'll be easier for the next time you watch it.
I agree.
Yeah, because I've seen it several times. The first time we watched it, I left the theater loving it, but not knowing what the hell I watched. I mean, it was like, I love this movie. I don't know what it's about, but I love it.
Yeah.
It was awesome because it's a lot to take in.
It is.
Then I've watched it maybe 7-8 times now.
That's funny that Jamie just now watched it, but you've watched it a few times since.
Because I'll say this movie looks great, and he'll look at the trailer and say it looks stupid, I don't want to go. And then he'll end up liking it when I finally make him watch it years later. So
told you so.
We'll
you so.
We'll cover the soundtrack. We just didn't have time this episode, but we'll cover the soundtrack in the cult meeting.
All right.
Well, because I do want to cover the soundtrack. All right, so we're going to end the show with this
shot.
This is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Mobcast Network.